Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, I need to make something very clear to everyone watching this. I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to R-rated films, and it's rare when I talk about one on my show. Throughout my show, I vlogged a few R-rated films that were thrilling, like My Bloody Valentine 3D and Nightmare on Elm Street, including the 2013 version of Stephen King's Carrie, musicals like Rock of Ages and Repo the Genetic Opera, films based on historical events like Patriots Day, films that were disturbing like Joshua from 2007, and Lucy from 2014. And animated films that were crude like Hell and Back. Also, there were times when I saw R-rated films in theaters, like Tropic Thunder, which was a bit corny, but okay. But then there were times when my parents made me join them to see an R-rated film, and there were several films that made me cringe and make me feel uncomfortable. However, the film I'll be vlogging today is something I've been interested in checking out for myself. Unfortunately, several friends, including my parents, have been telling me that I wouldn't like it. But let's find out if they're right. Released on August 12th, 2016, the movie is Sausage Party. So, let's chow down, folks. Life is good for all the food items that occupy the shelves at the local supermarket. Frank the Sausage, Brenda the Hot Dog Bun, Teresa Taco, and Sammy Beagle Jr. can't wait to go home with a happy customer. Soon, their world comes crashing down as poor Frank learns the horrifying truth that he will eventually become a meal. After winning his pals about the similar fate, the panicked perishables devise a plan to escape from their human enemies. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, I gotta say, my parents and friends were right. This film has tons of crude humor, adult profanity, and jokes that are really offensive. But, did I like it? Well, sorta. In fact, this has got to be the raunchiest movie I've ever rented since South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. But, I find this movie to be a lot better than South Park. Anyway, before I go all sheesh crazy, let's move on to Mustang notes. Seth Rogen has stated that he worked for 8 years to get this movie made. However, the content worried most film studios, and they thus did not pick it up. Noting that the film came from an innocent place, Rogen stated, "What would it be like if our foods had feelings?" We very quickly realized that it would be freaked up. Goldberg revealed the project to IndieWire in July 2010, stating it was, a top-secret super project. Initially, IndieWire was skeptical that the project was real and not a hoax on Goldberg's part. But, after vetting, it did confirm that it was in the works. In November 2010, Hill independently confirmed to MTV News that he was working on an R-rated 3D animated film. The film was formally announced in September 2013 as a partnership between Sony Pictures Entertainment, Annapurna Pictures, and Point Grey Pictures. On May 29, 2014, it was announced that the film would be released on June 3, 2016, but in early 2016, the release date was revised to August 12, 2016. The film received an R rating for strong, crude, sexual content, persuasive language, and drug use. When Rogen initially submitted the film to MPAA, however, they assigned it with an NC-17 rating due to the visibility of public hair on Lavish's scrotum. In order to be assigned an R rating, the pubic hair was removed. Now, while this movie is said to be a spoof on Disney and Pixar, in my eyes, this movie is pretty similar to Food Fight that I looked at last year. But unlike Food Fight, where the main characters are food mascots, Sausage Party's main characters are all anthropomorphic food, which almost reminds me of the food characters from the extinct Food Rock show from Epcot and Walt Disney World. Also, this style of CGI animation is a lot better than Food Fight, with the way the food characters and the supermarket looks. But the human characters look kind of strange, and sometimes the imagery can be pretty disturbing and dirty, including a few inappropriate camera angles and a hand-drawn animated scene where Firewater talks about the shoppers turning out to be killers. Now, you guys are not going to believe who these guys got to compose the music for this movie. That's right, they got Alan Menken to do the music. The same guy who composed music for such beloved films like Little Shop of Horrors, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, both the animated and the recent live-action remake, Aladdin, Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Home on the Range, Enchanted, and Tangled. Speaking of which, several months ago, I saw Mr. Menken perform at the Segerstrom Music Hall, and one of the songs he sang was The Great Beyond. To me, it's a pretty good song, even though there are a few curse words in the lyrics. There are also other songs by different artists featured in this movie, like Joy to the World, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, True, and others. Also, I do need to mention that ever since I saw The Secret Life of Pets last year, I had a feeling that Sausage Party was foreshadowed by that one scene in the sausage factory. Plus, in my opinion, it's kind of strange that the food think of the shoppers as gods. Also, I find it kind of hard to understand the whole religion plots that happen in this movie. And lastly, while most of the jokes in this movie were pretty dirty and offensive, there were a few that did make me chuckle a bit. Plus, there was something in this film that I thought was a clever Beatles reference, and that was a character named Sergeant Pepper. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, let's talk about the characters and their voice actors. Our main character, Frank Wienerton, is voiced by the creator of the movie, Seth Rogen, whom I mostly know from Monsters vs. Aliens, Kung Fu Panda, and Horton Hears a Who. Also, I've heard that he'll be voicing Pumbaa in the upcoming Lion King live-action remake in 2019. Frank is a sausage sold at Shopwell's supermarket. After Frank finds out the truth about the Great Beyond, he is determined to warn all the foods in Shopwell's the truth about their existence, that they're meant to be cooked and eaten by the gods that buy them, and get thrown away in the trash if they're expired. And together, they try to fight back against the humans. Frank's girlfriend, Brenda Bunsen, is voiced by Kristen Wiig, who has been in the 2016 Ghostbusters film, the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, and the Despicable Me franchise, which is getting a third movie next month. Brenda is a hot dog bun who serves as a satire of Christian fundamentalism. When Frank found out that the Great Beyond was religion based on Firewater's attempt to contain panic and tried to tell her about it, Brenda broke up with him. Later, Brenda redeems herself when she decides that leaving the supermarket without Frank is wrong, and in the film's climax, she sees that Frank never meant to insult her religious beliefs. But despite those religious aspects, I still think that Brenda and Frank make a sweet couple. Next is Firewater, voiced by Bill Hader. Best known from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Inside Out. Firewater is an old Native American bottle of liquor and leader of the immortal non-perishables. After Frank and Brenda got separated from the crashing cart, he comes to Firewater and his gang, and Firewater tells him about the terrible truth. Firewater tells Frank how the foods were eaten alive, which Frank wants to tell everybody what happened. At the end of the film, he starts his sexual relationship with Twink during the food orgy scene. We also have Darren, the manager of Shopwell's, voiced by Paul Rudd, who has been in Ant-Man and The Little Prince. Darren is nicknamed the Dark Lord as he disposes of expired food and spilled items. Lastly, we come to our villain, Douche, voiced by Nick Kroll, whom I talked about before in my Sing blog. Douche is an evil, murderous, feminine hygiene product seeking revenge on Frank for breaking his nozzle and preventing him from reaching the Great Beyond. I find this guy to be the most messed up villain I've ever seen in an animated film, due to the fact that he likes drinking the juice out of innocent groceries in order to gain more strength, and plans to kill anyone who gets in his way. Plus, his evil grin is just so creepy. The rest of the cast include Jonah Hill, Craig Robinson, Edward Norton, David Krumholtz, Michael Cera, James Franco, Salma Hayek, and Danny McBride. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Sausage Party, to me, isn't a great movie, but it's not terrible either. The animation is good, but it is sometimes very dirty and crude. The story with the whole religion plot is hard to understand at times. The humor is raunchy, but still pretty funny. The voice acting is great, and the characters are a little offensive, but really zany and crazy. So, for those of you who are under the age of 17, stay away from this movie. But, for those who are at that age, or older, you may enjoy this out of curiosity. And, of course, some of you may enjoy this more than I did. Besides, it's not a movie I would ever own on DVD or Blu-ray. So, I give this film a rating of 51% out of 100. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again for my next blog. And trust me when I say that it'll be a movie based on a classic ride that just turned 50 years old this year. Mustang Power.
Who's gonna be at the party? Who did you want to invite? Wholesome and healthy and hearty. They couldn't make it tonight. Salt, fat, chocolate, and the sweet truth. It's time to meet the four new food groups. Sweet, fatty, chocolatey, salty. Sweet